Hi, I'm Esther, and in this video, I'm going to take you through step by step how to sew up the Megan Nielsen Ash jeans.
Ash is the ultimate stretch jean pattern set, and there are 4 cuts to choose from: slim, skinny, flare, and wide leg variations. There are also 3 lengths: tall, regular, and cropped, so lots of options there. There is also a curve option, so measure yourself accurately and use the sizing chart to select your appropriate size. And just like any fitted garment, it's very likely you'll need to make small adjustments as all bodies are different, so I highly recommend sewing a toile or a rough draft first. I will emphasize that this is a stretchy jean pattern, so your denim should have at least 15 to 20% stretch in it. There is a stretch ruler included in the pattern, so you can use that to check if your denim has sufficient stretch. If your denim has less than 10% stretch, we recommend you check the finished garment measurements in the sizing chart and choose the appropriate size. If you are not after stretchy jeans, the Megan Nielsen Dawn jeans are a rigid jean pattern with no stretch, so you can find that on the Megan Nielsen website. Otherwise, in this video, we're going to be sewing up the stretchy Ash jeans. It can be nerve-wracking sewing up jeans because there are a few details that can take practice, and we're working with quite a heavyweight fabric in denim that's also stretchy, so it's important to take your time and do lots of test runs for things like buttonholes, bar tacks, attaching the hardware, and top stitching so that you can get a beautiful end result on your final garment. Since we are working with denim, I recommend using a denim needle for your machine and making sure that you're happy with the tension and the stitch length for both regular threads and top stitching threads. We're going to have to switch between regular and top stitching, so I'll try to keep that clear as I go along. The regular thread that I'm using is navy, while my top stitching thread is the light brown color. So remember to change out your threads each time. And I also suggest leaving a length of thread when you're doing your top stitching that allows you to knot your threads on the inside of your jeans instead of starting and finishing with bar tacks. This is to keep our top stitching as neat as possible. So take note to do that each time you sew with your top stitching thread. There's a comprehensive Ash sew-along series on the Megan Nielsen blog, so you can find that linked below for extra information and more options to customize your jeans. You'll receive lots of helpful information with your pattern, such as how much fabric to buy and what other trims you'll need, so I'm not going to go into that, but I would recommend washing your fabric first to eliminate any shrinkage and then give it a good press before you cut out all your pieces. I'll be tracing from the paper pattern that's available for purchase from the Megan Nielsen website. Otherwise, you can download your PDF patterns, cut out all your pieces, and we'll get started. We'll begin by stay stitching 1.5 centimeters from the raw edge along the top edge of the front, the pocket facing, and the yoke. These sections can stretch out a lot during construction, so the stay stitching just makes sure that they will still fit the waistband later on. Next, we're going to use your desired method to finish off the raw seam on the crotch of the front pieces. I'm using my overlocker or a serger, otherwise you can bind it or you can use any other stitches available on your sewing machine. Now we'll take the fly extension and fold it in half with the right sides together. We're going to sew 6 mil from the raw edge along that bottom edge using a regular foot and regular thread. Then you can turn it out the right way, reshape it and press it so it's nice and flat. Now we'll finish the raw edge of that fly extension using your preferred method and also around the outer curved edge of the fly. At this point I realized I didn't have the right length zipper, so just ignore the fact that my fronts have the pockets already done in this footage. I'm going to take you through doing the fly first and then we'll move on to the pockets later. Take your fly extension so that the folded edge is on your right and the finished edge is on the left, and place your zipper right up against the left side. The zipper stop should be lined up with the notch on the fly extension, which I've marked with a pin. Then you can sew the zipper to the fly extension 6 mil from the edge using regular thread and a zipper foot. Then you can place it right sides together with the right front piece. So 6 mil down the crotch seam, and then we can do a clip into the seam allowance so that it can turn out the right way. Now we're going to top stitch 1 to 2 mil from that folded edge, and remember not to back stitch, instead pull the top stitch thread through to the wrong side and knot it. Now place the left front right side up and place the fly aligned with the left front crotch with the right sides together and sew down using regular thread with the regular foot 1.5 centimeters from the edge. Clip into the seam allowance and then fold the fly all the way to the inside and press it down so that you can't see the fly from the outside of the jeans. Then on the right side, top stitch 1 to 2 mil from that folded edge. Now place the two front pieces right sides together and baste along the remaining section of the crotch seam. Now from the right side, the folded edge should line up with the center front notch, pin that in place and then turn everything around to the wrong side. Pin the fly extension out of the way so that you can clearly see the zipper face down on the fly. It should fall naturally on this wrong side, and we're going to pin the zipper to the fly only, sewing 1 to 2 mil from the zipper tape edge, and then trying to get a bit closer to the zipper teeth, roughly 6 mil from the first line of stitches. So you should have 2 lines of stitching there to help you get nice and close to the edge of the zipper teeth without getting too close. Unpick the basting stitches at the crotch. Now use a contrasting thread to sew some basting stitches around the outer edge of the fly. It should go through the fly and the front of the leg so that you can see it from the right side of the jeans. We'll use these basting stitches as a guide for our top stitching, so if you're not happy with them, unpick it and do it again, because we will now sew very close to these basting stitches using our top stitch thread and a regular foot. And once you're happy with the first line of top stitching, we're going to sew a second line of top stitching 6 mil inside of the first line. Once you're happy with the top stitching, then you can take out your basting threads and re-sew the rest of the crotch seam using regular thread 1.5 centimeters from the raw edge. Clip into the seam allowance, which will allow you to press all of the seam allowance towards the left side. Use a pin or chalk to mark the bottom of the zipper stopper on the outside of the fly so that we don't sew over it. On the right side of the garment, we're going to stitch 1 to 2 mil from the seam line, starting at the bottom of the crotch, working our way up towards the zipper stopper, pivoting and then sewing back down 6 mil so that there are 2 lines of top stitching. We'll finish the zipper fly with 2 bar tacks in these 2 areas of high stress, and it should come out looking like this. Now moving on to the front pockets, we'll take our coin pocket piece and fold the top edge over twice, 1 centimeter each time, and pressing it down. Then we can top stitch 1 to 2 mil from the top and then add a second line of top stitching. Then we can fold in 1.5 centimeters along the remaining straight edge of the coin pocket and press it down. Place it right side up on the pocket facing, using the markings on the pattern piece as a guide. Top stitch it in place, starting from the bottom, going to the top, pivoting, and then sewing back down. Then we can finish the raw edges of both of our pocket facings using your preferred method. I've overlocked mine, and now we can place them onto our pocket bags. Place the pocket facings and the pocket bag wrong sides together so that all of your notches line up, and then sew 6 mil around the edge of your facings. Now with our jean fronts right side facing up, we're going to line up our pocket openings also with the pocket bags right side facing up. Use regular thread to sew 1 centimeter from the raw edge and then clip into the curve so that you can turn the pocket bag to the inside and press the pocket opening. You shouldn't be able to see the pocket bag from the outside of the jeans at all. Sew 2 lines of top stitching along the curve to hold it in place. Now from the inside of the jeans, we can fold our pocket bag in half so that the edges are lined up and the notches are aligned, and finish the bottom of the pocket bag using either a straight stitch and serging it closed, or here I've French seamed it. Stay stitch 1.3 centimeters along the side seam and the waistline seam to keep the pocket bag in place during the rest of construction. Now for the back pockets, fold the top edge over twice, 1 centimeter each time, press it down flat, and then do 2 lines of top stitching. If you'd like to add decorative stitches to the back pockets, now's the time to do it. Otherwise, fold the rest of your edges in 1.5 centimeters and press them down flat. I like to try on my final jeans before deciding where to put my back pockets. So if you're the same, then do this step at the very end of constructing your jeans. Otherwise, you can just use the markings on your pattern piece for where to place your pockets and then top stitch them down. Now we can place the yokes on the back pieces with the right sides together, line up your notches, and sew 1.5 centimeters from the raw edge using regular thread. Finish the raw edges using your desired method and then press the seam down towards the pockets. Then sew 2 lines of top stitching. Place the 2 back pieces right sides together, match up your notches, and then sew 1.5 centimeters from the raw edge with regular thread. Finish the raw edge and then press the seam allowance towards the left leg before doing 2 rows of top stitching. Now we can place our front and back pieces together, ensuring that the inseam notches line up and the center front and center back seams line up as well. We can pin it in place and sew 1.5 centimeters from the raw edge using regular thread. Finish the raw edges using your desired method and then press the seams towards the front of the garment and do 2 lines of top stitching. With our front and back pieces together again, line up the side seams so that all the notches are aligned and pin it in place. Sew a line of basting stitches 1.5 centimeters from the raw edge. At this point, we can turn the jeans around the right way and try them on. There's so much variation with stretch in denim that it's a really good idea to make any small adjustments now while you can. Keep in mind that jeans generally stretch out throughout the day or the more you wear them, so keep that in mind when you're fitting your jeans. When you're happy with the fit, you can use regular thread at a regular stitch and sew 1.5 centimeters, and if needed, take out your basting stitches. Press the side seams towards the back of the garment, and now we're going to mark the end of where your pocket bag is, and we're going to sew a line of top stitching starting at the waist going down towards that marking. Then finish with a bar tack at the end of your top stitching. Now onto our belt loops. We're going to finish one side of our belt loops using our desired method. I've overlocked one side and then we're going to fold it into thirds. Then sew 2 lines of top stitching to hold it in place. Cut your belt loops to 9 centimeters each and you should have 5 in total. We're going to place the belt loops right sides together on the waistline of the jeans. We'll have 1 on the center back over the top stitching, 2 sitting on the back yoke, 1 inch in from the side seams, and then the other 2 will sit on the front here next to the top stitching on the front pockets. For the waistband, cut 2.5 centimeter squares of lightweight fusible interfacing and apply them to the wrong side of your waistband pieces over where the button and the buttonhole will be applied. I have a preference for my entire waistband to be fused, so I have used a stretch knit interfacing. So that's another option for you to consider. Otherwise, you can just fuse the squares in place. Now take the outer waistband and put it right side together with the jeans, matching up all the notches along the waistline. It should extend 1.5 centimeters past the center front and the fly extension because that's our seam allowance. Sew the outer waistband to the jeans 1.5 centimeters from the raw edge using regular thread and then press the seam allowance up towards the waistband. Take the inner waistband piece and fold up the lower edge 1.5 centimeters and press it well. Now we can place the inner waistband right sides together with the outer waistband and sew along the remaining 3 edges. Make sure that all your notches line up and sew 1.5 centimeters using regular thread. Once sewn, we can trim back our seam allowance and clip into the corner of the waistband. We can then turn the waistband the right way around and get your corners nice and square. Press all of your waistband edges and make sure that the inner waistband covers the waist seam, and we're going to pin or hand baste it in place. We won't be able to see this inner waistband since we're going to be top stitching from the outside. So make sure that you pin it in place accurately so that you catch the inner waistband as you're sewing. Top stitch all around the edge of your waistband and it should come out looking like this. And we're going to finish off the belt loops by folding the raw edges underneath and using a bar tack or top stitching along the bottom and the top edges of your belt loop. Try your jeans on and decide on your final length. Allow 2.5 centimeters seam allowance so that you can turn up your jeans twice, 1.2 mil each time, and then top stitch it down in place. The final touches are our buttonhole, our button, and our rivets. The buttonhole should sit 1.2 centimeters from the edge of the waistband, but I highly recommend taking the jean button that you're going to use, put it in place where you would like it to sit on your jeans, and then draw in where you will need your buttonhole to finish. Keeping in mind that where your buttonhole finishes is where the button's going to sit, not in the middle of the buttonhole. We have a separate video available showing you exactly how to apply a jeans button and the hardware required for your jeans. So we will link that video below so that you can appropriately apply your button and your rivets. If you would like to attach a leather patch, it should be top stitched directly on top of the waistband on the right side. It will go a little bit below the waistband and it should line up with the middle of your right pocket. And those are all the final touches for your Ash jeans.
I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you sewed up your own pair of Ash jeans, do tag us. Use the hashtag MNAsh so that other sewers can find your makes. We love to see how they turn out. If you had any other questions or comments, leave them below, and you can also find us on Instagram at Megan Nielsen Patterns. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.